Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the very next episode of The Remedy with Tova Sido and
Janice Gaunt and
Tom Bridwell.
I love that song. It just never gets old.
It's
You
so
can't help but move.
good. I know.
It's
I
tasty.
know. It's so good.
Did you pick it because Janice and I are cleanup woman?
I really just heard it when my daughter was watching Young Sheldon.
Oh, yeah. That
And
show's
I just
funny.
thought, man, that's such a tasty little jam. I think we should swap out the intro music.
It's so
I wonder
good,
what
Tom.
a cleanup woman is.
A cleanup woman?
I think she comes in and bats cleanup for all the losers that get left behind.
Okay.
Like bad boys in her life?
Like previous relationships?
No, I think that's what she's talking about, actually. She's saying that I come in and fix all the mistakes from the previous women you've had.
Oh, cleanup. Yeah, clean them up
She's got to
and then
clean up all the messes that his previous girlflriends have left
and
her
then
to
does
deal
she
with.
kick them out in the song?
Hopefully.
No, I'm just listening to the bass line and the drums. Clearly.
I'm like, that's interesting.
I need to listen to the whole word.
Yeah,
I
we
think
need
I
to
have
know.
that on my
We
playlist.
need to know what we're endorsing.
I mean, that's. I tried to remove the vocals so that we wouldn't have to go over the meaning of them.
Oh, sorry, Tom. Whoops. You want to start over?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
Well, we need to thank our sponsor for today's episode. Same sponsors last week, Maria Pope. Just
So nice. Thank
lovely-
you so much.
Lovely woman who loves our podcast. And thank you. We make it super easy for you to sponsor. And so if you or your small or big company would like to be a sponsor of an upcoming episode or episodes, you can direct message. I was about to direct mail. I'm like, what does that DM stand for? You can DM me because I'm just that hip. You can DM Janice and I at Be the Remedies. My kids tease me and call it Beth Remedies.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, y'all, like, Mom, it says Beth Remedies on Instagram. I'm like, no, it's Be the Remedies. Okay, so we make it super easy. You can reach out to us on Instagram. You can email us at janicegant@gmail.com, tovasido@gmail.com, or you can just straight up Venmo at Tova-Sido. All right. So today we are finishing up. We have been doing this for 4 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I hope y'all aren't
Attachment.
bored with it.
I'm not.
I'm not either.
I think this has just
think
been
it's good. I think it's really
super
good.
insightful to me. So last week we started, a few weeks ago, we started What is Attachment? Why is it something that we should think about more often?
Right.
What are some ways that we can let it go? And the last 2 weeks, last week and this week, we've talked about the benefits of it.
Uh-huh.
So here's all the reasons, here's all the backup for why not being so attached to people, material things, outcomes can be super helpful. Last week we talked about how you don't have to be controlled by your emotions. You don't have to be attached to the outcome. It leaves us more curious, open, spontaneous, peaceful, less neurotic. Yes, please. More relaxed and serene and resilient. I think one word that we used last week that I really liked was it gives us more freedom
Yeah.
in our minds and in our lives.
Yeah.
So we're picking up at number 8 today. You want to take that, Janice?
Sure. You'll feel a sense of wholeness because you don't need or want anything in particular. You're happy just as you are in the present moment. No comment.
Did you like mine?
Well,
This feels like a lot of like an ongoing evolution.
Yeah,
of us as people.
Yeah, and I think that it doesn't mean that I don't think that you have the expectation that if you're doing this non-attachment correctly or doing it in the right way, is that you'll never want anything in particular. I think it's more about being whole, and you want things, but you don't become those things. It's not an obsession with it.
And you don't have to have those things in order to be
happy.
okay.
Yeah. But I mean, there are things that we enjoy, whether it's travel or shopping or whatever.
Good meals.
And that's not a bad thing.
No.
It's just when you don't, I think it's more about you don't need it as you want it.
Yeah.
Need is,
you need, I think if you're attached to those things, you need those things in order to be okay.
Yeah.
And I think, if I had to have McDonald's tonight, I would still be okay. But I would prefer to make the scallops and the pasta that I have planned. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather eat healthier but I'm not so attached to it that I wouldn't be okay if my plans got derailed and I end up having to eat crap to-go food.
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay tonight.
Yeah, you will be.
That was a terrible example, but you get the point.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, number 9, you'll feel more love for yourself and for others because you're not attaching to beliefs and expectations about who you and others should be or what shouldn't be happening. You'll give yourself and other people freedom to be themselves without judgment.
How hard is that? It can be very difficult.
Wow. I mean, there was a couple that I met with a couple weeks ago, and she's just madder than a hornet at her husband because he doesn't make enough money. And she berates him and makes him feel as small as possible because he's not doing enough. And because she is so attached to the outcome of looking good, keeping up with everybody else in her neighborhood.
Yeah.
And like that example just came into my mind because it's so true like that is just burning through the love that the two of those two share.
It is.
I mean, it is erosion at its finest.
Yeah.
When we put expectations on others and that they have to do in order for me to be okay.
Well, I think that in a marriage we do have some expectations that if it happens, that could be a deal breaker. And I think that but I think we're not constantly doing that. You shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't do this, or you should do this, or this needs to happen, and all of that. I think but then, there are, I mean, if somebody went out and spent all the money that you had or had an affair or something like that, it's not going to work. So, but I do think that the more we are not attached to outcomes and what we have, these expectations of people that, first of all, if we have an expectation of somebody, it needs to be vocalized. And then you just have to realize that people are just different and they're not perfect.
Yeah.
And that way, you're not going to be walking around being, you should do this, you shouldn't do that, and then you're not going to be happy.
I just finished reading the best book on how to be a parent of adult children, like how to be a productive and healthy parent of adult children. I don't remember the name of it right offhand, but if somebody wants the title of it, and just reach out to me and I'll give it to you. It is truly, I think, one of the best books that I've ever read on parenting because it talked so much about this as a parent, like especially of adult children, like when and how to give your opinion, only if they ask for it.
Or I will say to my children, I have an opinion about that. Would you like to hear it? And they'll say no, or they'll say yes. And then I'm like, okay.
And if they say no,
then I'm like,
don't
okay,
give it.
No, because they really don't need a parent.
No.
And they don't need me to boss them around.
And they don't need you to try to control their outcomes.
No.
And so anyway, it really gave some really, really great examples of how to actually go about this. And he's a therapist, and he gave real life examples of people that he's met with, and also his own life. And it was real practical of like, this is just how you do it. And it was really just rooted in loving.
Yeah.
Like, you have one responsibility: love them. If they want to move in with a boyfriend and that's against your value system, that's your deal. That's not their deal. Like, what's your job? To love them. You know, you don't like who they're dating? Love them.
Yeah.
You don't think they should take that job? Love them. And if they want your opinion, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
And so, but it was just, I mean, it was that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that really came to mind when I read this.
Yeah.
Okay. Which, again, just creates more room for love.
Yeah.
10, you want to take that one, Tom?
Sure. You'll experience more synchronicity as life unfolds effortlessly and naturally.
Yeah. That's so true. I think if we have these expectations that are just driving everything, we'll even miss some of those things that life unfolds effortlessly.
Yeah.
And then we've missed it because we had our eyes so peeled on what we wanted to happen.
It's really good, Janice. Really good. Okay, number 11, you'll no longer be addicted to getting things or filling up an empty hole in yourself because you're content. And you won't attach to the belief that someone or something will complete you.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
You want things, like you
Yeah.
said earlier,
Yeah.
but you don't have to have them in
Yeah.
order to be okay.
Yeah.
All right. You wanna
That's an endless road. If you feel like you have to get everything that you want,
It's insatiable.
yeah, it is insatiable. That's exactly right. Okay, your mind will become clear, and you'll be able to perceive the truth more easily. Oh, did I skip one?
Yeah, but take that one and then we can go back to 12.
Okay, your mind will become clear, and you'll be able to perceive the truth more easily. I love that, and I do believe that's true. Because I think when we are overly attached to things and people and all of that, then we're missing so much that's right in front of us, and it clouds our vision because we're so myopic on that. So, yeah, I really like that a lot.
That's a thing that I think you wouldn't believe it until you did it.
Yeah.
Like,
I
just
agree.
trust that this is true, that your mind will become clear and you'll be able to perceive the truth more easily when you live holding on a little less tight.
Yeah.
The 12 that we accidentally skipped.
Yeah.
You'll feel more grounded and connected to life because you're not lost in thought-based attachments. You'll actually participate in life more fully. Boy, do I agree with that.
I do too. I really do.
I think it just lets us enjoy people where they are
Yeah.
without having all the angst of where we think they should be.
Yeah. Or where we think we should be.
Yeah, or where we think we should be in relation to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true.
It really is.
So true. That's a practice.
Yeah, it is a practice. I think so.
I mean, it is a practice for me.
Yeah.
I had this young girl in my living room last week, and she's so beautiful, and she's so young, and her husband have so much money, and they have this most beautiful home. And, you know, she's 15, 16, 17 years younger than me. And I'm like, dang, I didn't have that when I was that age. I mean, I really did think that. Like, God, they're so far ahead of where I was when I was their age. And what does that thought process do to me?
Nothing. I mean, it
Makes me less than.
Yeah, it makes you less than.
And for
I
what?
had one of my poker games this weekend,
Yeah.
and this guy that was invited to come play brought a friend and didn't get I probably would have said it's cool, But then when he showed up without asking me if he could bring another guy, and this dude was like really wasted when he got here. So anyway, like my old self would probably have been like uncomfortable and pissed and like wanting to control it and change the situation to the way but I sort of looked around the room and I realized that like everyone was kind of getting a kick out of this guy's drunkenness. And we just sat back and watched this dude entertain us for like an hour and a half, and he gave up so much money. And it was like one of those things where I was like, now I've got a story.
Yeah.
Because I just kind of shifted my perspective about it pretty quickly.
That's
you know what
great.
I mean?
That is a great
that's
example.
really interesting.
Like there was a couple of my friends I noticed were looking at me like, what are you going to do about this, dude? Like, and I was just kind of like, just watch this be funny. And it really was. It was hilarious. Like,
That's a
this guy was a
great.
ding dong, and it was
guy was
just
a
he was like
ding-dong.
really entertaining at the end of it. by the end of it.
So you could have gotten all balled up and not had fun with your other friends, and maybe you lost money for your get with your, I mean, it would have been you just didn't allow that to influence you in a negative way.
Yes.
And
It's a perfect example.
it's a great example of non-attachment.
So when I took George on his senior trip
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago to Dreams in Cancun, one day he was like, Mom, I really want to play golf with you. And I was like, oh, that'd be so fun. And so I'm thinking it's me and George. And I'm like, I'm so excited because we're on a trip with all of his friends. And so I'm not getting a lot of time with George.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get this 4 hours or 5 hours to go be with George in the middle of all the chaos, which I was, again, so fired up about. Well, we wake up the morning to go, and we have a car coming to pick us up, and here comes two of his friends. And I'm like, oh. And so he had invited, or two of his friends had said, hey, we want to go golf with you. Da, da, da. And so, George is never going to say no. And so I'm like, oh, okay. And I kind of like you, Tom, I kind of swallowed. And then we go, and neither of these kids have money. Oh. And so now I'm paying in Mexico for me, George, and his two buddies to play golf,
Food.
rent clubs, balls, and snacks. But I'm like, okay, senior trip. And then we start to play. Tom, we went through 25 balls in 5 holes.
Oh my gosh.
They were terrible.
Dude, that's when you just Venmo the parents. Beep boop boop beep boop.
And so I told, or that at hole number 2, George was like, maybe we should just only play 9. I was like hell.
You think?
How about 3?
I said, hell no. I just spent $800.
No. Was it that much
It's
for tea
expensive.
time and everything?
You're talking about at Palmilla?
Oh no, that
Oh.
wasn't. It wasn't even at Palmilla. We were in Cancun.
Okay.
I was like, I just bought all these balls. Well, at hole number 7, we didn't have any more balls left.
Oh my.
So only me and George could finish through 9. And so I'm like breathing through it. But George was like, Mom, I am so sorry.
He
like, I am
didn't know.
He didn't know. And I said, you know what, George? You know what we have? We have a story.
That's
exactly
right.
what I said to him. And I said, we'll finish at 9. We'll go in and we will giggle about this until you're old and gray.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're adorable. We've had so much fun. And like you could not be a worse golfer than, and it was a little bit of an ego boost for me that I've kicked their asses.
That is
These
good.
athletes that are, 17, 18 years old. But it was that same thing. Like I could have been, and I internally, I was fighting
I'll bet.
the attachment that I had to this is going to be a great time for me
just
and
me and
George.
George. It's just going to be so fun.
And we're both decent golfers, so we're going to have a blast together. We're going to see a beautiful course. And none of that shit happened.
That's
But it
funny.
really does eliminate the angst,
Yeah, exactly.
letting go of the outcome.
Yeah, that's exactly
Really
right.
amazing.
Yeah.
All right, finish this off with 14, Janice.
You'll feel gratitude, love, compassion, and happiness permeate your life. You'll feel, permeate your life as you let go of the need to chase happiness, which creates unhappiness.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Read that again. That is a good one.
You'll feel gratitude, love, compassion, and happiness permeate your life as you have let go of the need to chase happiness, which creates unhappiness.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it
I mean,
is.
who does not want to feel more gratitude, love, compassion, and happiness?
Yeah.
And I don't want to chase happiness.
No.
And I don't think we have to.
No, I don't think we do
happiness
either. I
can
think it's
find us.
all around us.
Yeah.
Just open your eyes. Yeah.
Amen to that. I love it. I loved this series.
Me too. I
Alex
thought it was
Verson,
really great.
Thank you again so much for giving us this idea. And to all of our listeners, if you think of something or read something or get curious about something that you would love for us to discuss,
Yeah.
we would love your recommendations. We would love your input, feedback, any of it.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
We can talk about anything. If we don't know, we'll make it up.
And you know what? If we're going to make it sound like we know exactly what we're talking about.
Oh, gosh.
Because we're not attached to that outcome.
No, we're not.
Thanks, y'all, so much for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Have a great week.